This week we're making things for the 30-year anniversary of The Nightmare Before Christmas.
This is part 1.
So they have a special 4D show at the El Capitan every year. And this year, since it's the 30th, they've redone everything for the show. But they've got special effects and all kinds of fun lighting and stuff during the movie. So I was tasked with making a bunch of props and set pieces for the show.
It's Nightmare Before Christmas inspired crafts.
Starting with this little guy.
A baby!
Yeah, we lovingly referred to this little lump of styrofoam as our baby. So he's the vampire bat toy that chases the kids at the end of the movie. Much like we did your Palisman, we have a profile and a front view from a 3D image of the little guy. And then I transferred that onto this foam block and then set up kind of like a bandsaw with my hot wire bow. So that's a hot wire that cuts through the foam. I made myself a little table so that I could cut out this shape. I cut out his front view and then stuck the side back on with a skewer and then cut out his side profile, and that got me most of the way there for his body. I just ordered a gigantic styrofoam ball for his head. And there he is. It's our little baby.
It's a baby.
So I attached the head to the body, and then I coated him in roof sealant to protect the styrofoam and give him some texture, and carved some of the details into the sealant. And then used foam clay for his lips and some of his other details. Foam clay is so weird. It's like so stringy and goopy and sticky, and it doesn't hold its shape really well, but it dries really lightweight, which made it perfect for this because this guy's supposed to fly, and it air dries, so we didn't have to, do anything to try to get it to cure on the styrofoam, which was also good. So this is kind of embossing his face texture. And then I used some quick seal to clean up some of the other texture. And then I have 2 layers of black fabric, and I traced his little body shape on there for his cape, tailcoat. I'm not sure which it is, but his cape thing. And then I sandwiched some wire in between the 2 pieces of fabric, and I glued it together and then used more of the roofing sealant to give it a nice rubbery texture. So his little cape is fully posable, and I jammed it into the back of his head. Lovingly stabbed into the back of baby's head. I made his little ears out of foam clay too, and I had little wires in there too, so they were also lovingly stabbed into his head. And then I painted him.
He's so cute and spooky.
You guys kept wanting to cuddle our little baby boy, and he wasn't squishy or anything. I guess the big head. I think it's a big head thing. Anything with a big head and big eyes is kind of inherently cute. This is Sam reenacting the scene from the movie when the little girl unwraps him and thinks he's cute and gives him a cuddle, and then he tries to bite her head off. There are 2 opera boxes in the El Capitan, and we put scenery in the opera boxes for these shows. And so one side is Jack's house. So we carved the stairs out of foam, carved the columns, made the cats. The cats are in the next video. And the columns for Finkelstein's house and Finkelstein Hill. There's so many things that had to be made for this project that we're gonna split it into 2 different videos because, oh my goodness, the amount of footage I had. Jack's house from the top of the stairs and Finkelstein's Observatory at the top of the hill both ended up being graphics. They were printed, and then we painted some of the UV effect paint on them. The UV effect paint's going to be in the next video also, and also the making of the graphics.
The UV fluorescent paint is really fun.
I spent the week carving the foam pieces and making the graphics and stuff. And then on the weekend, we went in to paint, and you guys actually got to come with, which you've never gotten to come with me to the shop to work before. I mean, you were there when you were babies, but this is the first time that you've ever actually gotten to work. I remember when Ty was little, she always used to beg, like, let me help. And I was always, no. Just no. But this time you guys are going to see this show. It's not a movie premiere that you don't get to go to. You actually get to see this show. So I think it's fun to actually get to do a little bit of it. And then the pillars for the front of Finkelstein's house. He'd be more friendly if his name was Finkelstein. Finkelstein's house, those 2 pillars were carved like the crystals for the Elemental premiere that we carved. So once everything was carved, it was all hard-coated, the same way we did the hard coat for the Little Mermaid stuff. Then I sprayed black paint on it, and then we just sponged a little bit of texture on it. So one of the big projects that you guys helped with was the snake. So it started out, one of the other artists sewed this giant day-glow orange tube of stretched neoprene, 16 feet long, and then I was tasked with carving the head. So I laid it out on a block of foam, cut it out just like our little baby boy, and then shaped it, smoothed him out the same as the baby boy also. Once he was carved, he had to be stuffed into the fluorescent orange tube, which was a thing. It took such a long time to get him in there, but eventually got him all pinned in and then sewed him in and glued the fabric around his mouth and lined the inside of his mouth with black felt like a Muppet. And so we took him to the shop, and then you guys were part of
Snake Squad.
Team Snake. It was an interesting process. We had a big step ladder, and there was 3 people holding up the snake skin, and I was pouring foam beads into it from the step ladder.
I tried to stick my hand in the foam beads, and it felt really weird and cool.
Yeah, did they stick to you?
Mm-hmm.
Sam kept hugging the snake, too. You were hugging all the things.
The snake is very huggable.
Yes, he is. There's the eyes for the snake and the tree skirt for the snake tree. So we were also making the trees from the Holiday Forrest. We made the Christmas one and the Halloween one. Those are going to be photo ops. So I drew the artwork on the styrofoam half cylinders. And then I left the shop and came home, and someone else actually carved the trees while I was carving these little ornaments for on the tree at our house. I got to use our whittling tools and our whittling glove. I'm not as good with them as Tyler is, but I did all right. Ty actually got to use the whittling tools for Jack's front gate, but that'll be in the next video also. The pro with the knife. And then this is adding some epoxy sculpt to the ornaments to give them some detail. And there's screws that go through the wood on all of those so that they could get stabbed into the foam so they'd be more secure when they got glued onto the trees. When the hard coat went onto the trees, it took all of us before the hard coat cured to drag some texture lines into the goop. It was a team effort to get it out of the carved grooves and to give it some nice clean goop lines. And oh man, did it make such a huge difference. Once we had them hard-coated, I based them black and then started painting. Since they have such great texture, it was really easy to paint them because I was just kind of dry brushing all of the details. And then at home, I made the presents that go in front of the Christmas tree. Here is the only image from the movie of the skulls that are in front of the Halloween town tree. So we knew we wanted these skulls, the store-bought skulls, to kind of have more of a Burton flair. So I had a little bit of epoxy sculpt left, so I was adding pieces to the sides of the skull and enlarging the teeth while I was sitting on the stage next to a styrofoam Christmas tree like you do. So yeah, I added the little in between the nose to make the nose holes smaller and gave them bigger teeth and wider eye socket area. And then when I painted them, I made the eyes a lot bigger and I shaded in the back of the jaws, the bottom jaws, the back of the bottom jaws, the bottom of the bottom of the back of the bottom jaws. So that they would go away more because the Burton skulls have really narrow bottom jaws. Yeah. The skulls were this last minute addition, and they're kind of my favorite part. And there's your snake. And I got to finish painting stripes on him in front of the concession stand in the lobby, which I think is hilarious. But we were just taping him off and doing it one stripe at a time. One of the other artists did the first half, and I did the second half. Yeah, that's a lot of stripes. That's a stripey boy. And then here he is with his eyes glued on, a little shading around his eyes, eating that Christmas tree and freaking out that poor little boy. I did the graphic for the little boy too, but there he is. He's very, very 16 feet long. And here's the other side. Some of the other artists made the Jack-in-the-Box and the little Russian doll, and then there's our baby boy. There he is flying. What a super boy. And then there's the opera boxes. That's the Finkelstein side. There's the giant snake. And then there's the Jack side with the cats and the columns and the gate.
Wow.
I think it turned out great. Like the Tim Burton style is very there.
Yeah, we worked hard to match because Disney fans and especially Nightmare fans are very specific. They know what it looked like. They've seen the movie 100 times. They know exactly what it was. And if you don't get it right, they will know that it's not right. What did you guys think about going to the shop?
It's super fun and spooky. I liked riding the little cart thing they had.
Yeah, there's the golf cart that they cart all of the equipment and supplies around with.
Yeah.
You liked riding the golf cart through the warehouse?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I also liked hanging out with the other people there.
Yeah, there's a couple of girls there who are high school and college age, so that you guys were very fitting right in.
Uh-huh.
I also liked hanging out with the
other artists.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We had a really good crew. All of us old people were reminiscing about the first time we saw the movie and how many times we've seen Oingo Boingo in concert. And you guys were just eating pizza and stuffing a snake.